I'm Julie Bort with Business Insider, and I'm here with Patrick McLean, CMO of TD Bank.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Happy.
This is great. What a great setup.
So you're sort of famous in your own little circle, in your big circle. You're known for extremely splashy marketing campaigns.
Okay.
So I'm excited to hear about some of this. I'm excited to hear about some of the background behind there.
Okay.
So tell me about one called TD Thanks You.
Yes. So TD Thanks You was a program we ran over the course of the summer, in the late summer. And it was literally to thank as many of our customers as possible. So what we did was we had a program that involved our retail channel, it involved a lot of our digital channels, and it involved our call centers. And what we did was everything from just surprise and delight gifts for our customers, might be a gift card, might be some other gift that we provided them. And then we selected a number of customers where we actually gave them personalized gifts based on what we knew about them.
Yeah,
so,
like?
it might have been some baseball tickets. We had one case where we had a woman who was a customer of ours. She was in her mid-90s, and she frequently would call our call center 2 or 3 times a week, and she would always ask for the same individual. So as a thank you to her, we actually took that call center representative from TD, brought her to Florida where she lived, and had them meet and spend some time together, and she was just over the top
You personally
excited.
went out there to see her.
And she was thrilled to meet somebody that she had talked to on the phone, and it just, we gave her a personal thank you, and gave her the opportunity to get to know somebody at our company that she had come to know and build a relationship with over time. So that was one of many examples of that kind of personalized interaction that we had with our customers during that
Tell me
period.
about how this campaign got started.
Yeah, well, it was really grounded in some of the foundations of our brand, which is that we really do love our customers, and we pride ourselves on providing a human experience for our customers when they interact with TD Bank. And so when we thought about, well, what can we do that's on brand for us that we can really show our appreciation for our customers? And the idea really came to us, well, what about just a simple thank you? And that idea blossomed into, well, how could we execute that in all of the different touch points that we have with our customers, whether it's on the phone, whether it's through our digital channels. Let's capture those moments, let's create content around it, and let's just celebrate the great relationship that we have with our customers. So that's where it came from, and you can call it
spitballing.
It was spitballing. It was really ideation with ourselves, our Canadian counterparts, in the Canada market, and our agency, and it was really just something that came out of a very simple brief, which was how do we celebrate the great relationships that we have with our customers.
But that's not the only thing that you guys have done that is what I would call splashy. There's something about rolling renovations.
Yes.
It was a big campaign.
It was.
Yeah, unusual. Tell me about that.
That was last spring, and that was in support of our home equity product. And the big idea we had there was, well, how do we, first of all, reach customers in a way where we're adding value to their lives in terms of helping them think through how to make their dreams real, right? Everybody's got this idea around what they might want to do with their kitchen, or add a second home in their room or whatever, in their house or whatever it would be. And they always have trouble getting over just having the dream. And so this idea was, how do we take content and how do we take really interesting and helpful content around renovations, and let's bring it into an environment where our customers can interact with people around what it would take to make their dreams real. So what we did was we partnered with HGTV, and we had a number of their celebrities, Jason Cameron, for example, and we had them literally on tour with us. And so we had this really tripped out bus. It was literally rolling around the East Coast, a bunch of different stops. We went to home shows, we went to renovation stores, we went to our own store locations, and we had this location that people could come to, learn about what they needed to do to make their renovation a reality and make it a successful renovation. And then in that context, we provided information about how a home equity loan might help them finance those dreams. And so we gave it context, and it was a huge success. Were there
giveaways involved?
There were giveaways involved. We had a sweepstakes. So, there were lots of reasons to come and interact with us as a brand, but it was, instead of just, telling them about the rate that we have on a home equity loan, for example, we wrapped it in content, and we wrapped it in, again, a personal interaction with people, which is right on brand for us. And, you call that splashy? I think it's splashy. We literally were rolling through our store footprint with some HGTV celebrities and helping people make their dreams real.
So having done a number of these giant things where you're
Yep.
rolling around and going out to people, so tell me a little bit about marketing tech. Like, can you go forward a little? Like, what are you looking at now, and how is it going to change the marketing campaigns you do in the future?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there's a few things around innovation that marketers can look to. First and foremost, the evolution of content is really exciting, and I think going in a very interesting direction. People are consuming content in much different ways than they used to. Sort of historically, we've had this kind of broadcast approach to people, consuming content, and that has, given way to you would buy a particular ad, where people were consuming that broadcast content. Well, now people are interacting with content in a much more sophisticated way, whether it's on their mobile device, whether it's on a laptop or on an iPad, or now in these new interfaces like, an Apple Watch or other wearables. So for us, for marketers, we've got to think about evolving the way in which we're reaching customers through those new content experiences. And so that means, instead of just, placing an ad in a particular space, you have to think about how to make a more organic interaction with customers from a marketing perspective. So things like sponsored content, things like more authentic ways to participate in the content, rather than just interrupting somebody when they're trying to consume that content. And so things like the rolling renovation example, right? We're leveraging content that HGTV is producing, and we're leveraging celebrities and their audience. But we're participating in a very authentic way in that content, and we're using it in a way to reach our customers that is, I think, innovative in a way and in a direction where I think we're going to have to continue to push the envelope. So that's one example. I think the other is just in terms of how the experience that our customers have is evolving. I've been struck recently with how quickly innovation is happening in things like voice, whether it's Alexa or it's Google Home or other examples. That's really another example of how consumer interaction is evolving. And so as a marketer, now that's really exciting, but also challenging, because in the example of financial services, it's always been a very personal interaction with customers. And some of the examples of the marketing campaigns that we've had, we've tried to reinforce that. It's a personal relationship. So when you look at these new interfaces, whether it be a quick glance at your Apple Watch, whether it's interacting with Google Home or Alexa, how do we, as a financial brand, as a financial services brand, how do we interact in those places? And how do we make it personal so that it's not just transactional, through these new vehicles? And so innovation's also going to come in the experience layer, where we've been extremely successful as a retail experience brand. We've got to challenge ourselves, and I think every service industry's got to challenge itself on how do you continue to create that great personal experience with customers and deliver on the promise in all of these new interfaces.
Well, let's drill down into that just a little bit.
Sure.
So you've had a couple days to explore CES.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've talked a little bit about how exciting these new interfaces are.
Yeah.
So do you have any ideas, or just to put you on the spot, what's your next marketing campaign going to be? Or maybe not so on the spot. But so have you had any ideas? You've seen amazing tech on the show floor. Is there anything that struck you?
Yeah, a couple things have struck me. That one that's really exciting is just the evolution of virtual reality and augmented reality. A lot of that here at CES, and again, it's an amazing example of how quickly this innovation is coming. And so for me, that's exciting in a couple ways, because we've been very successful in experiential marketing, where whether it's events, physically, in a particular market, or whether it's some of the examples of the campaigns, I think virtual reality and augmented reality are another way that we can take experiential marketing and really make an impact on our brand. And
can you give me an example of how you think it might change your industry?
Yeah, so you might imagine somebody who is seeking financial advice, or somebody who is looking for information about how to have a home renovation go well. or how do I get a mortgage, or whatever it may be. So they're looking for information and content. And so you could imagine, instead of them going into a store location and interacting in person with a financial advisor or somebody, a store manager or whatever it may be, you could imagine them in a virtual environment interacting with content where it's just as personal and it's just as tailored as a conversation would be with somebody that in a store location, but it's actually happening virtually on your own time in your own space. And I think that can be extremely powerful. And you take the example of the rolling renovation campaign. Imagine a virtual rolling renovation campaign where we've got content that people are interacting with around home renovation as a content topic, and we're not even necessarily physically present there, but it feels like we are. And that's really exciting as a marketer, because there's just no end of opportunity there.
Just a really cool idea that I'm sitting there with my VR thing, and here you guys come to my virtual home and help me out or show me what I'm supposed to be doing or how I pay for it all. Yeah. It sounds really, really great. Are there, what else at CES have you heard? Are there other themes here that you've seen or heard, or just tell me a little bit about what you use this show and other shows like it to do?
Yeah, so first of all, I've mentioned a few of the things that are exciting. I think the evolution of this voice interaction is clearly one trend. The other is, virtual reality, augmented reality has been another trend. The other is, I think the promise of the digital home and the connected home is really becoming a reality. You look at some of the major players in that space, and whether it's the software that's powering the interaction in the home, or whether it's the actual appliances and television or refrigerators or whatever it is, that has come so far in a short period of time, and now there's so much connectedness in your home that I think the promise of that is starting to become a reality. The other really interesting part of the show, if you get a chance to come and experience it, is the auto. So just think about like the connected auto, and all of the promise of even things like in our business, paying your bill in your car, while you're a passenger, or while you're heading somewhere, or another interface into the customer in their own environment, their car. And I think that's another trend that's really becoming real. So a lot of exciting things. In terms of what I use the show for, or what I think marketers are starting, over the years there's been this collision of technology and content that has really fueled the growth of the Consumer Electronics Show. And it used to be really a pure tech show, and now it's a tech show, but it's also really become a marketing show because of all the implications of these new interfaces, of the advancement of the way customers are now experiencing brands.
Has it changed your job? Are you now tasked with doing different things?
Well, certainly, as a CMO and as a marketing lead, we need to know our customers, and we need to know, what their experience is going to be like moving forward. So I think my job has changed, and I think the marketer's job has changed profoundly, because the understanding of the customer is not just with your own particular field or your own set of products and services. It's really a holistic understanding of the customer. And that inevitably these days means that you have to understand technology and the impact it's having on your customers, on consumers generally, and on the industry either that you're in or in other industries. So it's incredibly important for marketers to understand technology and the impact it's having. And that's why I'm here, is that, for a couple reasons. One is to keep on top of that, because it's happening so fast that this is really the single place that I think you have that opportunity to see all the trends across the board and get a fulsome and kind of wholesome understanding of it. And then the other thing is, Julie, is everybody's here, right? So as a marketer, it's really a celebration of the industry, and so you can accomplish so many meetings and so much interaction, so much networking in a single, kind of 2 to 3 day span, that to replicate that, would take a number of trips and meetings and things that, would be much harder to orchestrate than it is when you've got this really compact amount of time.
It's
and
people,
everybody's together.
Cool technologies, tons of ideas, forward-looking things. Yeah, it's a great nexus of things.
It really is.
Well, we are so looking forward to seeing your next splashy idea. Whether
you.
it's in the real world or the virtual world or the audio world or any of that, it's going to be fun to watch.
It's an exciting landscape, and it's great to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.